Greeting Mumford Mustangs. This is Miss Parker, your speech teacher. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I hope all is well with you and your family. You all are continuing to stay safe and healthy. Now, we are going to pick back up from our Speaking to Persuade lecture that is from Unit 5, Chapter 11 reading. Just to provide you all with the objectives again, to describe the difference between informative and persuasive speaking, which we discussed. Characteristics of the different types of audiences. We covered that yesterday, and we're going to discuss that a little bit more today. Most effective strategies to use for your different audiences when persuading them. Identifying and understanding ways to build prestige as a speaker. Understanding your responsibility as a persuasive speaker, and using evidence and logic, reasoning together to create a logical, persuasive presentation. All right. So I'm going to pause this slide for a moment. And since we paused that slide for a moment, I wanted to review with you all very quickly those different audience types that we discussed yesterday. So remember, we talked about the positive, the sympathetic audience. That audience agrees with you on your topic. They don't really need much information. They are really built to be your cheerleaders, right? So for instance, if you're speaking to a group of community leaders in the city and you inform them that there are more resources that are needed, they will probably be in favor of your ideas. So this is the easiest type of audience to persuade. And your goal is to deepen their feelings about the topic. Next, you have the neutral audience that's neither for or against your topic. They may not know much about the topic or the issue that you're discussing. Their basic need is to be informed, and then they can form an opinion. So you are going to bring information first and then provide reasoning behind your opinion on what you want them to think or believe. Okay. Then you have your disinterested. So they know about the topic, but they don't care about it. So it could be just an unimportant issue. It's just not a priority. It's not something that they're checking for. They're not thinking about it. But the goal is to show those type of audiences the seriousness of what you are bringing to them, and closeness and how they are affected by the issue. Most times we see this with first-time voters, right? They might not know how the issues of deploying troops to another country or the job employment rates, how that may affect them. So until someone shows them how it can affect them or their loved ones, they just kind of like, so that's your job. Then you have the opposed or the hostile, okay? That is the most difficult and challenging audience for any persuasive speaker. This person or these persons in that type of audience disagrees with your stance on a topic or an issue or policy or whatever you're speaking about. And they have the same emotion as you on the topic. So it's pretty most likely strong. You have to create an open-mindedness and convict that type of audience member. You have to succeed on getting them to at least listen to you and hear your side and then attempt to change their mindset. It'll be difficult. However, this type of audience definitely exists in any time you talk about an issue or a persuasive topic of any kind. So I wanted to take the time to review those different audience types before we jump into more and delve deeper into the persuasion lecture. So now that we have been able to discuss, okay, the different type of audiences, how do you know what type of audience you have in the room? Okay, so let's discuss it a little bit. This is done by what is called an audience analysis. So you ask the inviter about the attitudes and needs of the listener. So that is, you ask someone who has invited you to come speak. So sometimes it may be your teacher, it may be an organization, a company. Ask them about what are the attitudes and needs of the listeners. And then you can ask your friends and acquaintances as well. Find out what they think. And then you can talk to others who have addressed the same audience. So typically in your case, you have peers that may have had the opportunity to present in front of your same classmates. You can ask them about the audience. We're going to take a moment to look at this short clip about audience analysis and then go ahead and move forward.
Wouldn't the world be a more spectacular place if everyone was just like you? If only we all shared your interest in homebrewing, Irish folk dance, and the hibernation patterns of bears. Sadly, that's not how the world works. As a public speaker, that means you're going to have to figure out some things about the group of people to which you're speaking. This is called audience analysis, and conveniently enough for you, is the topic of this very video. We're going to talk about the importance of audience analysis, the types of audience analysis, and how to conduct audience analysis. Let's get started. Audience analysis is important for a variety of reasons. First, who doesn't like to know that someone is thinking of them? Audience analysis shows the audience that you've had them in mind throughout the entire preparation process. Aristotle also talked about the importance of finding common ground with your audience. In today's technical speech parlance, we call that identification. Audience analysis will also help us know what level and kind of language we should employ, determine the types of presentational aids that will be most effective, and develop strategies for relating the topic to the audience. For these and many other reasons, audience analysis is a crucial part of speech preparation. There are several different types of audience analysis that a speaker can and should conduct. The most basic is demographic analysis. Demographic analysis looks at audience characteristics in broad categorizations. Some common categories of demographic analysis are age, gender, ethnic and cultural background, socioeconomic status, meaning income, occupation, and education, religion, political affiliation, and group membership. While it's important not to let demographic analysis slip into stereotyping, a basic understanding of the makeup of your audience can be quite helpful. You'll need different strategies if you're going to give a speech on Social Security to a group of senior citizens, as opposed to a second grade class, or if you're speaking about stricter gun control laws at an NRA meeting. In these cases, a little demographic knowledge can go a long way. Demographic analysis will give you some basic surface information, but you'll also want to conduct an attitudinal analysis of the audience. You need to know as much as possible about the audience's attitudes, beliefs, values, feelings, and opinions about your topic, you as a speaker, and the occasion for the speech. Do they already have strong opinions about the topic you'll be covering, or will you have to educate them as you go? What does the audience know about you? Will you have to overcome a bad reputation, or do they not know anything about you, in which case you'll need to work on building credibility? And what are their expectations for things like the length and theme for a speech on this occasion? If they're expecting you to speak for 20 minutes and you go for an hour and a half, you could be in trouble. Likewise, a speech about diversity on Martin Luther King Jr. Day is likely to be better received than one on fantasy football strategies. One last type of audience analysis that will serve you well as a speaker is situational analysis. In a situational analysis, the speaker carefully considers the setting and context of their speech. This might include things like the size of the audience, the size of the room, the time of day the speech will be delivered, and the technologies that will be available. Knowing these things in advance will help you be better prepared for whether or not you'll be using a microphone, fighting against the audience's pre-lunch cravings or post-lunch drowsiness, and whether or not it's even worth putting a PowerPoint together. You might be saying to yourself, wow, that's really useful information. I definitely want to do an audience analysis before my next speech. But how do I do it? I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you about 3 common methods for gathering information for your audience analysis: observation, sampling, and general research. Observation is a qualitative method of information gathering. In the simplest terms, it involves getting your own eyeballs on the audience and the environment. Ideally, you'll be able to do this before you actually speak. Take a look at the crowd to get a feel for the mix of ages, races, and genders represented, the size and temperature of the room, and any obvious kinds of interference that you'll have to combat. You can also engage in observation while you're giving your speech, which can be as simple as paying attention to the nonverbal feedback provided by your audience. Another type of information gathering that can be useful in audience analysis is sampling. Sampling involves surveying the audience, either formally or informally. If you have the time and opportunity before delivering your speech, you can ask the audience to answer questions about your topic. These could be closed-ended questions, like attitudinal questions, value-ordered questions, or Likert-type questions, or open-ended questions, like, what are your feelings about vaccines for children? You could then tabulate and analyze the responses, making use of the resulting data in your speech. You can also survey the audience less formally during your speech, such as a speaker who asks for a show of hands after asking a question. This can provide quick and visible feedback, but it does involve some risk as you won't know the answer in advance and therefore can't prepare as thoroughly. Finally, a speaker can conduct a little general research to find out more about their audience and the situation. A quick search of published sources such as websites, newspapers, and other publications may yield some information about a particular group. You can also conduct interviews with people who will be a part of the audience and infer information from their answers. Asking questions of the person who invited you to speak can be fruitful. They should have some idea of the size and makeup of the audience and also be able to provide some information about the environment in which you'll be speaking. Remember, your audience isn't likely to be a room full of mirrors. You'll need to account for the fact that the people making up the audience will have their own interests, habits, and concerns. I may want to spend hours dissecting every glorious hour of Firefly, but most people do not, which is why it was canceled after only 14 episodes, and you don't recognize the people in this picture as the cast of the show. Public speaking is not about just you. It's your job as a speaker to figure out how you can best connect the ideas, language, and other aspects of your speech to your audience. And then you should totally watch Firefly.
All right. So, stated in the audience analysis video, there are 3 different types of audience analysis that one can undertake, which is demographic, attitudinal, and situational. And then there are 3 different ways that they highlighted that you can garner this information through observation, sampling, and then research. And looking at the bullet points also provides more information on that. Next, you have to know the different approaches that you must use for your different audience types. So here's a chart, all right? For positive, remember those are our supportive audience members. Just make and keep them happy. For neutral, provide factual information. For apathetic, which is really you're disinterested, don't care, ignite a fire for the topic and showing how it affects them. And then your hostile, your opposed audience, you have to do 2 things, 2 different approaches. You have to soften them up and present sound evidence to that audience. Now, of course, you will not find yourself having the exact same audience or everyone feeling the same way in your audience. So you will see mixed audiences. Now, what do you do when you have mixed audiences? Say you have positive and neutral listeners. So you provide the information to the group that satisfy, but also recharge the sympathetic listeners. Okay, so you provide persuasive information to your neutral listeners and then recharge your positive listeners. Next, if you have the opposed and neutral listeners, you do the same approach where you provide the persuasive information, but use mind-opening tactics than using the facts, right? You have to have facts with any audience, but especially your hostile audience and your neutral audience. And what do you have positive and opposed? So you have 2 different ends of the spectrum. Well, you use the same strategy that you would for opposed listeners. So appealing mainly to those listeners because you already have the positive audience support. You don't really have to do too much. So you may gain some converts from opposed audiences in this whole tactic, because again, you are opening their mind, you're providing them with sound evidence and facts. And again, you're unlikely to lose your positive audience because they're already on the bandwagon with you. They support what you're saying. They're your cheerleaders. So that is how you approach your mixed audiences. This wraps up our lecture for the day. All right. We will again continue to discuss more and more about speaking to persuade. In the meantime, in the interim, if you have any questions, please make sure to reach out to me so that we can ensure that you have a great understanding as you will be writing your persuasive speech and be presenting that very soon. So make sure that you understand everything that we're discussing. Remember, we always have office hours. You can request office hours. Please make sure you ask questions and pay special attention to your do nows and your check for understanding. Other than that, I want you all to have a great day. Thank you for your time and have a great one. See you soon.